Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Stollings. You know me here on YouTube as MarauderEX, and as always, I'm your host for Operation Recap, where I take some of the stories from Rainfall.com, show them off here on YouTube. You know, a little cross-promotion. It's what I do. Don't ask questions. We're way beyond that point right now. Anyway, I'm a little punchy, so I'm just going to go ahead and get into these stories before I get any weirder. First off, the story that is very near and dear to my heart. I'm very excited about this one. Pure Solar HD is nearing completion. Not an official word from Watermelon, but a post on their blog by a person known as Savior, who is a person behind the development of the strategy guide, says the guide is about 80% complete, and he got a chance to play the beta and said it was fantastic. I would assume that the guide is being worked on concurrently with the HD remake. Not too much change in the story, so it could be that the guide is just 80% complete and the game is far from that, or even farther ahead. It's hard to say without having an official word from Watermelon. Now, Watermelon has been keeping up with the Kickstarter backers, been providing this information, but for those of you who are not Kickstarter backers, we like to give this information out to you. So, yes, the game looks like it's getting close to being done. I am super excited about this. If you don't know what Pure Solar is, it's a game that was made by RPG fans, for RPG fans, on the Genesis with a custom 64 meg cart in 2010. They did a Kickstarter for an HD version that was very successful, got funded very quickly, and it is coming out on all sorts of consoles. It's coming out on hard copy versions for like the Dreamcast. It's also coming out on digital copies for the Wii U, the Xbox 360, PS3, iOS, and Steam. So if you were not a backer of the Kickstarter, don't fret, you can pick it up, and I strongly recommend you do. Keep tabs on that because it is a fantastic RPG. Done by RPG fans for RPG fans. Next up, speaking of RPG fans, this is just going to be a very RPG-centric episode. Rune Factory 4, the European release has been cancelled. And that's really sad news. Not surprising news, but sad news. So, Marvelous AQL Europe issued a statement. We regret to inform you that the European release of Rune Factory 4 for the Nintendo 3DS has been cancelled. While Marvelous AQL has made every effort to secure the title's release for this territory, it is unfortunately not possible to do so at this time. MAQL and MAQL Europe would like to thank everyone for their support and enthusiasm for their European releases. Please look forward to announcements on new MAQL titles over the coming months. Again, not surprising considering Neverland Co. just filed for bankruptcy, and they are the people behind Rune Factory 4. So not, again, at all surprising, just very disappointing that the game was being worked on and it was just not to be in so many ways. So if you are a fan of the Harvest Moon spin-off Rune Factory, I strongly suggest picking up what titles you can, because it looks like it may not be a thing anymore, unfortunately. But something that might be a thing for our third and final story for this week is there's a possibility of a new Saga game. And I say this without making fun of the Candy Crush Saga suing Banner Saga. No, I'm not even getting into that. That's a rant video for completely another time. That's special. But Saga, if you were a fan of old school PS1, PS2 RPGs, the Saga series, Saga Frontier 1 and 2 on the PS1, Unlimited Saga, Romancing Saga, big games, big RPGs done by, I believe, Enix, now Square-enix. I'm kind of confused on which company actually had it at one point. I think it might have been Squaresoft that actually had the Saga games, and then Square-enix. It's been a long time since I've looked at the original cover for Saga Frontier, even though it's right on my shelf. But the gentleman who was in charge of it, I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to call him by his last name because it's a little easier to pronounce. Mr. Kawazu. I hope I'm still pronouncing that right. If not, please forgive me. I'm terrible with names. I've said this before. He was a guest at the Saga and Mana series composer Kenji Ito's most recent concert, and he stated that he would like to do a new game. Now, he's also said that, there's really nothing that he can talk about. Development is progressing on something, but they're nowhere near stating something publicly as a release. But he has gone on record saying he would like to do another one, and I'm fantastically excited about that as well, because the Saga games, they are interesting, they're odd, they're weird. The Frontier games, you played multiple characters with intersecting stories, and it's this giant world, and how these characters are all intertwined. It was amazing. I have not played the PS2 titles, Romancing and Unlimited. I've heard that they were not quite up to par, but the Saga games and the Mana games, I'm huge fan of the non-Final Fantasy Square properties, Square and Enix properties, Dragon Quest included. So the fact that someone is getting ready to come out and say this, that they want to do this, huge deal. For those of you who also don't know, the game was the series was the Final Fantasy Legend trio, and then it's also part of the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles spin-off. So those worlds are more interconnected than the Final Fantasy games. So it could just be that this is just going to be another Crystal Chronicles or another Final Fantasy side story type game, and not an official Saga game or Mana game or something like that. But I'm hoping it's a Saga game. Really am. Like to see, those IPs being put to good use. So that has been a recap for this week. I'm going to go and not be as high-strung as I apparently have been, because I'm twitchy. I don't know what the deal is. I guess it's all this good news partnered with all the weird news. A lot of stories we did not report on Rainfall, like the Candy Crush Saga, because talking about stupid stuff just hurts my head. Just hurts my head. So I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to go. And I will see you guys next week for another recap. Till then, later everyone.